Hi friends, my name is Jorge Muñoz. I'm a senior instructor pilot working in El Salvador, but today we are doing something a little bit different. I'll be taking you through my last holiday vacation right before the pandemic. During the last days of December 2019 and the first days of January 2020. I've always wanted to make some sort of blog/diary/day-in-the-life videos about the trips I had planned for 2020 and some others planned for this year that have also been cancelled due to this trashy virus. So let's see how this works out. So, our first stop was in Houston, but just for a few hours, so sadly we were not able to see much, but at least it was a nice airport with decent enough Wi-Fi. And we had a good time eating some random overpriced burgers. The real fun started when we arrived to Chicago the next morning. To be totally honest with you, I'm not entirely sure, but this was our budget holiday. And I think we spent the night at the airport of Chicago to not pay for a comfy bed somewhere else. #lifehacks. So, after possibly spending too many hours at an airport chair trying to get some sleep, we stepped out of the airport to visit the city, since our next flight was scheduled until around 7 p.m. of that day. Luckily for us, our baggage was already sorted out and we will not see it until our final destination. So we just decided to randomly walk all around the city until we could find something interesting to do or to see. We took some photos and suddenly we found this. A random store was celebrating the 25th anniversary of Friends, a TV series that I like quite a lot, just like most people. But I think my friend was way happier than me to have found this store. You didn't even have to be a client to be able to enjoy this event. And the entire store was themed as the Central Perk cafe we see throughout the whole series. There were some other very interesting stuff inside the store, like some letters signed by the actors themselves, and this wholesome karaoke cabin to sing some of the songs of the series. I think I don't need to say how charmed my friend Asensio was. He really gave his very best. After that, we had a very fun time taking some silly pictures of ourselves screwing around the cafe. I don't think we were very good employees. And about 1 hour later, we continued our merry way to a cheeky skyscraper with a deck to see the whole city from above. I found this skyscraper on the internet while my friend was still singing inside the cabin. As someone that lives in a country where we have a grand total of 0 skyscrapers, this was also a very pleasant experience and the first thing beside those burgers that we had to actually pay. So we were doing quite well with our budget. We spent a lot of time taking more pictures and videos and continuing talking about how surprised we were to have found something so unique and fun as the previous store. Finally, we spent some more time just appreciating the view of Chicago and the Mississippi River, if I'm not mistaking it with another body of water. By the way, I forgot to say that our final destination was Europe. We were traveling from El Salvador all the way to Amsterdam, and once we were there, we would be traveling throughout a lot of different countries for about 3 weeks. Because we had a limited time in this city and the sun was starting to get lower and lower, we went back down to earth with the rest of the world after a while to continue exploring the streets of Chicago, taking more pictures and whatnot, like the complete tourists we are. Until we found a park, I guess, with a pretty fancy theater for God knows how many people, and also a pretty cool ice skating rink for all the locals and tourists, like us. This was the second time I saw this ice skating thingy. The first one was all the way back in 2014, I think, in Bergamo. Unfortunately, we didn't try to skate because Asensio didn't want to die that day and I didn't want to see my friend bored in the crowd. I'm such a good friend. and also because I had already experienced this at least once before. Besides, we were a bit hungry and tired from all the walking we did during the whole day. So we took this moment to chill for a bit and see these other people fall all over the ice. It was very entertaining for us. For the most part, all the people there were just tourists. But there were these two little girls that just wanted to show off her skills and humiliate all the other mortals in the ice. I remember we were both betting on who was gonna fall first from doing all those crazy maneuvers they were performing. Sadly, that never happened. Oh, by the way, I just want to mention that if these videos don't seem too much like a normal vlog, it's because we weren't thinking of doing a vlog out of this trip. But now that I look back on the footage, I think that it might be worth a try. However, we continued walking around this park and we found this strange bean that apparently is a well-known attraction for tourists, called Cloud Gate. I haven't heard about it until that same day, but it was nice to take some pictures with it, and it got a lot more trippy when we walked inside the bean. I've never been on drugs, but I bet this is as close as you can get without the actual drugs. We stayed inside the bean for like 5 entire minutes just staring at the ceiling. Oh, by the way, this whole thing I'm showing to you, this whole park is apparently called the Millennium Park. Again, I'm so happy that we decided to just randomly wander around the city, with nothing in particular in mind. It is an extremely pretty and green park for the most part. I would have loved visiting this park and just walking around it the whole day, but sadly again we had a plane to catch in a few hours. Over there in Europe, our schedule was a lot more well planned out than this chill day in Chicago, the city of winds. After the end of our trip inside the bean, we continued walking around the place. This time, we were exclusively hunting for a nice place to take some pictures for our social media feeds, and we found it pretty quickly. Asensio spotted from far away this very promising place on the side of the park, so we walked heads first to this place, and he was right. I mean, look at these views. We lost like half an hour to almost an hour over here, just making the best or the dumbest photos we could think of, depending on how you look at them. And if you have been a good tourist like us, you take the time to help your fellow lonely tourists and take some pictures for them. After realizing that because of this we were now late to our flight, we rushed back to the airport and luckily we caught the plane without any problem. After checking out some of the stores inside the airport, knowing that we would have a very long flight ahead of us, we prepared ourselves with food, drinks, very wisely visited the bathroom and whatnot. The next thing we knew was that the next morning, December 24th, we had arrived to Amsterdam with its very depressant weather. We got off the plane, got our baggage back, and for some reason I thought that our hostel was somewhat nearby, and I convinced my friend to walk under the rain while carrying our heavy baggage. Long story short, we took the wrong direction, maybe partly because of me, and made what could have been a 30 minutes walk into a 2 hours long or so walk. We finally arrived to our room. We both decided to die for like 3 hours, and by the time I woke up, Asensio very kindly had already fetched me a large beer can to start that Christmas Eve with the right foot, and he had also looked where we could spend our Christmas Eve with a hell of a fun time. So we went out the hostel room and took a metro to a place I don't need to say the name of, but I think some of you might have the idea already. We took a pleasant walk through the city, again, like the classic tourists we are, discovering that many strange things were actually legal over there in Amsterdam. After a particular fun time, we headed back to the hostel, had a couple more beers and a bit of a chit-chat with some other hostel pals, and quietly ended the night, because we would have to go to another city by tomorrow morning. So that's it for this video. If you found this fun in some way, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe and all that stuff. And you can also check out this other holiday-ish playlist over here. I'll be seeing you in another video just like this one. Bye bye.